Hello and welcome to Vanessa Loves, where we have conversations about what really matters in a world where we want to feel deeply connected to self, others and the planet. And today, Vanessa loves Johanna Dodd. Hi Johanna, how are you today?
Hi Vanessa, really good, thank you. All the better for seeing you.
Oh, well, we do like to keep smiling at each other and helping ourselves feel good, don't we?
We do, yeah. Someone has to.
Someone has to, absolutely. Even though it might feel weird, we were just saying, weren't we, before we came on, it's just like, it's like being in front of a permanent mirror on Zoom.
So, yes, it's horrible. Turned it off.
Let's have a smiley face other than mine. So what I want to do today is I would love you to tell us and highlight about what you're passionate about. I've known you probably now for about 4 years or so. I'm always drawn to your energy, for the love that you want to share in the world, but also what you're so passionate about. So could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it's Williams Fund. So Williams Fund, we set up in memory of William. I don't know if you can see him just above me there.
Yeah, we can.
William sadly was diagnosed with a childhood cancer when he was 2 years old. And he had to have the usual run of surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, physiotherapy, all of those. It was a really, really tough time, as you can imagine. I used to be a nurse, so I did understand the depths of it. And my husband did a lot of chemistry stuff at university, so he was quite in there with the drug side of things too. And we had young children. We had, Edward was 2.5 years older. I was expecting Lucinda when William was diagnosed.
Wow.
No, not when he was diagnosed, a bit later. When he started his chemotherapy, she was born that night. So it was all a very exciting time.
Yeah.
That was an interesting night, I have to say. So after the battle of 2.5 years of treatment, we had learned a lot about the childhood cancer side of things. William didn't make it. We lost William when he was 4 years, 9 months, and it was just horrible. So just to point out, it was a solid tumour. It wasn't a leukemia, which thankfully, about 86% of leukemias are curable now, unless you get a really aggressive, nasty one. The treatment's brutal. It's a 2-year programme, but at the end of it, you pull through. And in the whole time we were being treated at Oxford, William was the only little guy that lost it. Everybody else, we kept looking at them and thinking they look dreadful, and he was bouncing around being his happy self.
Yeah.
And they looked dreadful lying on their beds with all this treatment, but they came back.
Wow.
They made it. So it's the solid tumor cancers that we're not getting to grips with, and that's what did it for him. So as a result of that, Peter and I said to the consultant at Oxford, what can we do to help this situation? And he said he had been doing some research into specifically childhood cancers, but he'd run out of money and he couldn't do it anymore. So he had a redundant laboratory bench, basically, that he wanted to do some work with. So we said we would fund that. Well, we had no expertise, no experience of doing any of that kind of thing at all. But we did say that we would do it. So we started in the usual way that people do, just by running something, riding something, doing that kind of thing. And it's all snowballed from there.
Yeah, wow. I mean, just as I'm just trying to make notes while wanting to hear more and more about your story, I just wrote no experience, but then underlined, and this, I get shivers as I say this. You had drive, you had reason, and you had passion. And I think any mother, being a mother myself of 2 teenagers, and my nephew, just here, you can see here, little
Yes.
Isaac,
Yeah.
he's 5 in November, so he's about that sort of age.
Yeah.
You can't imagine what you must have been living through and how you must have felt. And that's one of the reasons I'm absolutely in awe as a mother, as a human being, and as woman to woman, how you do what you do. And we network together monthly, and sometimes we see each other more often. And each time you knock me sideways with your stories about the people that are raising money, the research, I hear something different each time I hear you talk about Williams Fund. I fall in love with your little boy all over again. And it's lovely to have met your husband as well, and your younger son, I think I've met,
Henry.
I've seen him walking about in a penguin suit a couple of times as I've joined in on some of the fundraising activities. But I think one of the things that really, really touches me is, and I didn't actually know about the researcher with this derelict bench, if you like, the way you said it, a redundant bench. That's really exciting, and that you began and he wanted to help you. But what is really exciting is the fact that you are raising money and nobody gets paid.
No, that's right. Well, when we set out to do this, we looked into opening up an official charity. It was it was a lot of red tape. It was very expensive. We spoke to Oxford Hospitals about it, and they were very happy for us to do it under their umbrella. So they've got 600 and something charities under the Oxford Hospitals umbrella.
Wow.
And it's usually people who want to do something good after they've lost somebody, or the hospital has helped somebody from their family, which is lovely. So that's how we started, and that's in fact how we stayed. So the Oxford Hospitals charity is very happy to umbrella us, so to speak, and so therefore we use their charity number,
right,
which is brilliant. But we wanted at the time to be completely transparent. We didn't want it to be money comes to us and then what. So we decided we wouldn't pay anybody. We wouldn't take expenses or administration fees of any sort, because then we could directly look people in the eye and say everything we raise goes directly to our research. So our research facility started on this redundant bench with a few students and so on and so forth, and then we struck lucky when we got Dr. Helen Townley, who is a very renowned researcher, and she's led the Williams Fund project now, and in fact she's been given the title what is she, Williams Fund, I can't remember what it is now.
She's
anyway,
somebody very, very important anyway.
She's very important, yeah. She's the William Dodd Research Fellow. That's what her title is now. So that was not bestowed by us, that was bestowed by the hospital. But so because we're in Oxford and we had this research opportunity, we had this amazing lady come in who has a history in marine biology, very interested in natural earth elements and getting away from the harmful chemotherapy side of things. It was a perfect match. So she has worked tirelessly on this. Obviously we've had PhD students and people coming in, and we've managed to fund that to an extent now that we outgrew the redundant bench, and we now have a laboratory in Begbroke Park, which is still affiliated to Oxford, but it's in the big science park.
Wow.
So it's really exciting. You can see a video of that on our website, just a little pan around with the little Williams Fund stickers on everything. And they're able, because they're in Oxford and because they're so well renowned, to collaborate with people all over the world and on different projects. And they've had so many papers published now. It's so exciting. And the momentum has really grown and grown from that time. So it's really come literally from a redundant bench to a proper research facility. And then that's really, really inspiring, that the results that are now coming out of that are incredible. And if I can, I'd like to tell you a bit more about why we chose to specify childhood cancers.
Yeah, do you know what? Please do, because that's something else I just circled there. Is I didn't even know there was a difference between the two. You think Billy No Mates or Norma, kind of. I just didn't understand that childhood cancers were different to adult cancer. You think, in my ignorance, cancer is cancer.
Yeah, believe me, it's not your ignorance. It's everybody is in the same boat pretty much. Even the medical research profession have only just caught up within the last 10 years to the fact that childhood cancers are completely different.
Wow.
Literally completely different. So we have seen what they call lines, which are what they call the cells that they take from tumours, under a microscope, where you have a tumour line from an adult and a tumour line from a child, and they have been diagnosed as the same thing. You put them under a microscope. This is putting it very simply, because our researchers, I mean, the stuff they do is completely over my head, but you put it under a microscope, you treat it with the same thing, and it reacts completely differently. It's not the same thing at all. So if you think back over the last 50 years, how they've treated childhood cancers for solid tumours, remember I'm talking, is very much the same as they do with anaesthetic. So with anaesthetic, you go in with a child and an adult, they weigh you and they measure out how much you need in relation to your weight.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what they've been doing with chemotherapy over the years.
But just a lesser dose for children because they're smaller.
Yeah, that's about it really. And nobody did it maliciously. It was all done out of the goodness of, this is chemotherapy, this is what works. But we know that chemotherapy and radiotherapy have a pretty poor record when it comes to children. Sometimes you hit lucky, sometimes it works, but there's a big but. When you're an adult, you have other pathologies going on. So you've got maybe a bit of arthritis or diabetes, or you're overweight, or you've got a heart condition, or you might have something else, liver disease or something. When you're a child, you're still developing, and you don't generally have those kinds of pathologies going on within your body. You've got growth hormones and all sorts of other things going on. So you're a slightly different entity to an adult anyway. So when you hit a child with that bombardment of chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and it is a bombardment, and often it's more than an adult would have, because they're firing with a blank target. They don't really know what they're firing at, because they don't understand how childhood cancers work. So they've bombarded them with all of that, and then the figures that we tend to see tend to be a 5-year survival rate, for example. Well, you might get a few children that survive to 5 years and beyond, and that's lovely, but the legacy they take forward with them from the side effects of that treatment is horrific, and often will lead to them having lifelong issues going forward. And it's not really acceptable, to be fair. I mean, it is great that they can survive, but going back to the survival rate, it's not brilliant. So we have a problem with diagnosis of children's cancers, we have a problem with treatment of children's cancers, and we certainly have a problem with prevention of children's cancers. So we now have in our research facility very advanced, well thought of researchers who are looking entirely at that. How can we prevent it? How can we stop it from spreading? Because metastasizing is a very big factor. And how can we treat it going forward? And they have their fingers in many pies. So it's not just one thing they're looking at many things. And very excitingly, the latest thing when we went for our update just before the lockdown, in fact, was that we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement about some intellectual property, which has been put forward, and now there is a patent application which is now pending for a process which they have developed, which I'm so excited about. It will change everything with cancer treatment, but because there's a huge crossover between adult and child, the work that we're doing, whilst we're focusing on children's, it is actually obviously always going to help the adult as well, because things are going to be discovered by looking at the two. So I was blown away when I went up there, because some of the students hadn't started till October last year, and the results that they presented to us from what they'd done so far, a lot of it following on from work that had been done previously, was just amazing, incredible.
And actually that probably is quite helpful, having different people working on it. If you're saying students are coming in and then they graduate and you get other, so you're constantly getting fresh set of eyes, the newest ideas, new blood, if you like, coming, excuse the pun, but coming into seeing something. So it's constantly changing. So there's kind of no stale.
No,
there's
that's
lots
right.
of lovely
Actually,
new energy coming in.
No, that's true. But Ben, who came to us for his original degree, then has now come back for his PhD, and he's really fired up, and that's so exciting to see, because he loved it that much. He came back. I like to think it was because of the penguins myself, but I'm not sure.
Well, you know what, I was just about to say to you, what's the relevance with the penguins? Because I've seen you dress up like a penguin, and you wear orange nearly every time I see you. You've got your lovely sticker here, which you give to us each time we see you, and I wear mine. I put them on different jackets. I've got them on because it's a way of saying, oh, what's that? Oh, that's a good idea. Stick it
it's everywhere.
yeah. Well, when we go to my other networking meeting, because I know you know the guys and girls I work with there, and the pot, they wear them on their actual name badges.
They do.
You know, it's something, obviously it's such a worthwhile cause, and we totally understand where it was born and why it was born. And I do just want to highlight you, Johanna, because you, as the front runner, as the one really with the pom-poms out front going, Williams Fund, Williams Fund, Williams Fund, we buy into you. I know we were talking about Ali McTari just before we came on. He's a big champion of yours, and
He's
some of the other
fantastic.
guys from the BNI group and all the girls at Athena. We love Johanna. Ooh, we love Johanna. And it's like, you know, at any time there's anything going around with it's fashion shows, obviously pre-lockdown, fashion shows and climbing of walls. And I was going to do the abseiling thing, gutted, I broke my foot, so I couldn't do it. I was really up for anything apart from the marathon. Anything that's going, I'll throw myself into. And so why the penguin? Please tell us about the penguin.
Well, basically, it was just William's favourite thing. I mean, he had them on his walls, his bed linen, his clothes, everything.
Oh.
So we started out with a fairly ropey-looking penguin originally. That was just a sort of, because we didn't know where we were going. There was no sort of big business plan with a big startup or a marketing thing or anything like that. We just really stumbled along for years.
Yeah.
But eventually, my brother, who is very talented, came up with this logo. Can you see that on there?
Yeah, just hold it a little bit closer up to the up high, a bit higher. That's it. Perfect. Thank you.
So if you look in the belly, there's an orange W for William.
Oh yeah, there is.
So that was Graham's design, and he has actually been turned into a Bond penguin, a golfing penguin, an abseiling penguin, an artist penguin. So Graham will do pretty much anything with that penguin that we ask him to, and we don't pay him either. How marvellous is that?
Well, and do you know what? This is, again, the other infectious part about all of this is people want to buy into helping you. They want to give of themselves to help you. And actually, that's the reason why I said to you, would you come on and chat to me about it? Because any excuse to sit with you anyway. But also, after we had our meeting last week, our networking meeting, you said to, God, I'm getting shivers as I say it. You said, and you've just, actually, before I say this, you'd just hit a massive goal with Williams Fund. Was it just prior to Christmas or just after?
It was actually around Christmas time. It was about around the time of between William's anniversary and William's birthday, funnily enough. So the 12th of December was his anniversary and March the 13th his birthday. So within that time, because money comes in, you know, so there isn't a sort of finite number. So we collect it all together with my lovely friend Anna, who does the numbers bit for me. And so we managed to crash through quite considerably through £1 million. So yeah, it took us a while.
Yeah, but you know what? Once the ball is rolling, lovely, the ball is rolling.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, it is all about, you know, we had those young children, we had jobs, we had other things to juggle. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just sort of throwing events out and doing stuff. Yeah. And then as the children got older and got a little bit involved, and I was a little bit more free, and then in the last 3 years or so, my other job has sort of taken a sort of dive, because see what I did there? It was baby swimming teaching, but we lost our pool, and so that was impossible to replace. So I now still do that on a private basis, but that freed up a lot more time. So, and the brand has just grown, as you've said, really. But one of the things we do like to do, though, is we do work a lot with local businesses and local companies, and we try really hard not to be the ones who are always saying, give me stuff. We do try and collaborate rather than take. So we've done lots of events with people rather than, you know, them doing it for us, and we like to think that it's giving back as well, because people do like a feel-good factor. They like to think that, you know, this company works with our local charity or whatever, so if we can champion them as well. I have to say, I'm very choosy. I am very choosy.
Well, it's about value sets, isn't it, as well, which I think is interesting. And
it is,
you know, and if
because
you're aligned...
at the end of the day, it's in the name of William, and it's all about quality.
Yeah.
And so we have to maintain that.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that. And also as well, one thing I do want to highlight is that anybody that does want to get involved with you and the Williams Fund, you are utterly genius. You are so brilliant at highlighting people. You don't do what some charities do, and that's, can we be your charity of choice? And thank you very much, and all the rest of it. You give so much back. You are constantly, I don't know how you do it. You're constantly everywhere. And I mean that
I wish I was as good as
love,
Nicole. I can't match up to Nicole with her pinpoint stuff.
It's a good job she's your friend, isn't it? Yeah, she can help you and show you how it's done for sure. But you lovingly do it, because you totally understand the connection and the collaboration. And that is, again, something else that people just love, because we're so missing that in the world right now, aren't we? And if they can feel connected and support something and feel supported back, there's a mutual thing. That's not why people do it, because anything they want to give to you and Williams Fund, because they want to give to you and Williams Fund, right?
I hope so. And also I do recognise the fact that research isn't really sexy, is it? You know, I haven't got a little cute little puppy dog I can bring along, or you know, there's nothing really tangible that they can feel. It's just that we want to make it better, and we can only do that with research, and it's not very exciting, but we just try and make it as exciting as we can.
As exciting as it can be, you know. I totally get that, and it might not be sexy, but I wonder if actually connection is the new sexy, you know. I'm just wondering.
Well, people love people, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, totally. So that's the main reason why I wanted to have this chat with you, was because you said since lockdown, since the beginning of the year, and I remember getting your email or your message saying, oh my God, we broke through 1 million, and we were so happy for you, and whoever I was with in my group was so excited for you. And then of course we hit lockdown. And people had fundraising ideas, whether they were climbing down buildings or running marathons or shaving heads or whatever it might be. Fashion shows I've done with you and stuff like that. And Nikki Hall was going to be doing her clothes thing. That sounded amazing. I had oh God, I had my clothes all ready for that one. And you just said your fundraising's taken a nosedive, and I was like, oh gosh, of course. And I was like, and this was Tuesday, and it was on my mind all Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and I can't remember when I left you the message. Thursday, I think it was, because you were celebrating Edward's Henry's birthday.
Yes.
And I just said, look, okay, I've got an idea. I want to do an interview with you. I want to highlight you. I want to show the world how beautiful job you're doing with Williams Fund, right? And I've got an idea. So, and I waffled on in my way I do on voice message, and kind of just said to you, what do you think? Because I just thought that how else can we help you in times of lockdown without actually obviously doing the group stuff that you so beautifully organize? So there's one way, and that's easy fundraising. So just tell us briefly a little bit about that, and then I can include the link in this video.
So easy fundraising is really simple. If you're somebody who shops online, this is definitely for you, because there are over 4,000 companies online who support easy fundraising. It's very simple. As long as you go in, you set up an account, very simple. And as long as you go in through your easy fundraising link and just buy whatever you would normally have bought, be it from M&S or Next or John Lewis or Selfridges, whatever it is, doesn't matter. There's 4,500 companies on there. They will donate a percentage of your sale to Williams Fund, completely free to you. Your price doesn't change, and sometimes it's 3p, sometimes it's £2. The percentage varies, and sometimes they do special deals where they double their donations. But at the end of the day, we have made thousands from easy fundraising, from those little bits all adding up. So it's a really simple way, and it's you just literally you load it onto your phone, your laptop, wherever you do your shopping from. Just remember to go in through easy fundraising, and you will get messages to say how much you've raised, and some people find it quite competitive.
I've got to roll it up to the next tens of pounds or whatever it might be.
They like to be in the top 10, and I like on our Facebook page, I usually put out a monthly thing to say how much we've raised on there. I don't tend to say who's raised the much, because some people don't want people to know that they've been spending money online, so I wouldn't want to get anyone into trouble. But personally, I usually message them if I know them, because there are some people on there that do it that I don't know.
Wonderful.
But if I know them, I'll message them and thank them. But it's such an easy way of doing it.
Well, like you say, if you're going to be spending that money anywhere on Amazon or John Lewis or whatever, especially now in lockdown, then it's a really great way. And it's the incremental bit by bit that's actually never underestimate that. Underestimate that. No. Actually, that leads me on to then the way I think I would like to be able to help you, and the suggestion I had for you was because it actually was 10 years ago. 10 years ago in April 2010, I set up a phone line. I was a director of a skincare company, and I had a team I was looking after. It was about 30, 40 people. And as their mentor and as their leader, they came to me with all sorts of stuff. So I trained them how to run their business on a Monday evening. And, you know, this is how we train our people, and this is how we teach cleanser, and this is how you put lipstick on, etc. And that would all be really wonderful. And then in the week, I would get calls from my team members saying, thanks for the training, but I'm really struggling because I'm feeling this, or I'm really struggling because, you know, my relationship with my mum is not great, or I'm really struggling because I can't lose the weight, or whatever. There'd be all sorts of things. And there would often be, because my lovely team knew I'd transformed myself, they'd come to me and say, how did you do it? How could you help me? So I had different things coming to me, but my response was always the same. And I remember putting the phone down once thinking, this is lovely, and I'm really glad I can help and I can support and guide, but there's got to be a way that if I'm saying the same thing to different questions, there's got to be a way I do it once, because I wasn't getting any work done, or I wasn't getting any of my other, you know, my other work done, or I wasn't cooking the dinner, or whatever it might be. So I thought to myself, and I'd had the idea prior to 2010, probably about 10 years previous to that, I love smiley faces, and I love happy voices, and I love that kind of connection, and I love all that joy, that sunny disposition. I'd really love to set up a phone line where I could support people with a joyful message, or a positive message, or an insightful message. And I didn't do it 10 years previous, because it was like, who am I? Who would listen? What would I say? Is it worth it? That kind of thing. And the times, or multiple times I thought about it, I just shut myself down. And then I had this team, and the idea would come again. And then one of my girls in my team rang me, and she said, I was going to email you, Vanessa, but I just wanted to hear your voice. Bam, that's it. Right. So within 3 days, I'd set up this phone line, right? An old mobile. My granny had gone into a home lover, so this mobile was spare. And you know, when you change the voicemail, oh, hi, you've reached so-and-so, please leave me a message. You get 60 seconds to do that. I didn't know if you know that. So I changed that message every single morning at 6 o'clock. And I started the phone line on the 1st of April, 2010. And at 6 o'clock each morning, I would record a message, but I had to prepare it, because sometimes I found myself, if I was watching the clock, going, and I'd get cut off. So I'd have to prepare it so it fitted. You know what it's like when we do minutes at Athena?
Yeah.
It's sort of not very long, but it's quite long. And I had to time it beautifully. So sometimes I would be there for hours trying to time this message and re-record it. There was one spot in my conservatory where I'd be hanging out the window where I got best reception. And I did that for a year. And I literally just emailed my colleagues and just said, this is what I'm planning on doing. If you think it would be helpful, or it might support you in some way, or help you look at your life in a different way, then please dial in. And I had people saying to me they rang first thing in the morning, last thing at night before they went to bed, multiple times throughout the day if they're having a crap day, that kind of thing. And I actually had people saying to me, are you the butterfly lady? Because I called this line Butterfly Whispers, right? Are you the butterfly lady? And I was like, yeah, probably. And I was meeting people who knew about my phone line and dialing in, who knew from a friend, from a friend, from a friend. I think 4 people removed once. So
Brilliant.
God knows how many people were ringing it. And our dear friend Marilyn Messick in Athena liked my idea when I met her, and encouraged me to do it for a whole year and make it into a book. And I was like, oh, don't be silly, that's ridiculous. And she pursued me for about 3 months, love her. And she encouraged me, and she did, and she helped me edit it. And I did turn it into a book 3 years later. So this is Butterfly Whispers in book form, which I know you've got a copy of.
It's a beautiful. I got naked with you, Vanessa, remember?
You did. Let's just be really clear about what naked is, otherwise people think we're in some sort of weird camp.
It's all for charity.
Absolutely. Naked is the work I do with emotional health. So it's about stripping back the stories. As an emotional health mentor, I help people get naked. So I help them get really comfortable with themselves, right? So you very lovely came on one of my workshops, and you learned about this in the book. But the idea is the message that I would record each day is at the top of the page. But the page on the bottom, each day there is space for you to write. And this was where one of my greatest learnings was your thoughts and your feelings. What am I feeling on this particular day? Or even your gratitude, right? The idea that it's every day. And that's why I liked what you said about easy fundraising, with you just don't ever underestimate that 3P. or that pound or whatever it might be. Because when you keep doing that and you keep doing that, you keep doing that, that's what the concept of this taught me. When I was recording these messages every day, I had my best year. I was well in myself. My business was booming because I was focusing in the right place. My energy and my attention was on, positive outlook and really dealing with myself. So my gift and how I wanted to be able to help you, Williams Fund, was I want to gift this book, which normally I think retails about £15. I've got a few hundred here that I'm willing to give to Williams Fund for anybody who wants one for £10. A whole £10 goes to you, Williams Fund, and I will do postage and packaging. So anybody who wants one of these books, there will be a link in this video where you literally just click for PayPal. We'll have your address and your email. We will then put a book in the post to you for you to enjoy at your leisure. If you've got any questions, obviously, by all means, let me know. But read it, enjoy it, use the principles, understand they're written from love in a way for you to be able to see your life in a refreshing new way, to help support your transformational journey should you wish to go on one. And let's face it, at the times we find ourselves in right now, it's probably highlighting the fact there's probably a bit of tweaking we can do with ourselves moving forward into a more fulfilling existence, if you like. And just, document how you think and feel and even your gratitudes in it. But all of that I would like to gift to Williams Fund. So anybody,
that's so kind.
It's really my pleasure. It really is my pleasure. Because there are some gems in here. And even though I say that I wrote it myself, so a lot of it I didn't write, if that makes sense. I did, but it came through me. My work, a lot of my work is intuitive. And it might be 10 years old, but the principles are the same. And I just thought, could it possibly be something that we could help generate some sort of funding for you while it's taking a bit of a nosedive at the minute, where people can support themselves and, more importantly, help build the Williams Fund.
I think it's a tremendous win-win-win, because at this moment in time, when people are questioning all sorts of things about their lives, that book, The Butterfly Whispers, is really, really valuable, because you may not warm to all of the ideas, but some of them are really going to hit you, and those are the ones that you need right now. But when you read it again next year, or you look at a different day, you'll get a completely different feeling. And having gone to the Naked workshop, I can really appreciate that now, and how it can get you so differently on different days. So to gift that to Williams Fund and help out the people that actually receive it is fantastic. That's exactly how we like to work, because everybody gets something, which is brilliant. Well, apart from you, but hey.
But do you know what? For me, it's that beautiful, warm feeling, because what I've learned over the years is when I ask questions is how can, or what do I do about this, or whatever, I learn to just go with what comes. And while I was getting ready the other morning, I was like, what can I do to help Johanna and Williams Fund? What can I do? What can I do? How can I raise money? And like I said to you, I could shave my head, I could chop my left leg off, all the rest of it. But I was thinking, what would actually be really beneficial to everybody? And then I just went, Vanessa, you got a few hundred copies here. Why don't you gift those? And I was like, okay, I wonder if she's going to buy this idea. So I was like, Johanna. And then
I love it. And the thought of that dropping through people's doors, it is lovely, because I think every single person that receives it will get something from it, whether they're male, female, doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And gift it. Even if this is what I've always said, even if you don't think you need it, it's a really beautiful I love you present. I was thinking of you present. I wanted to donate to the charity, and I've got this, do you want it? Even if people just they don't want the book, but they just want to be able to give you £10 for the Williams Fund. So that's my gift to you, sweetheart. I would love to think we could raise some lovely funds for you, and who knows where
that would be great. It is tough, because we had some real bangers this year planned. We had the Retro Festival in Newbury. We're doing us as one of their charities, which I was so excited about. I'd booked my brother's camper van for the whole weekend as my birthday present from him, and it was just going to be so exciting. And they do fantastic work for charity all the time, the Retro Festival people.
It's a great show. Great.
Really lovely. And of course the Gerrards Cross Fun Run, which is a biannual event. Again, they were having us as one of their charities too. So those are two big earners which have
Yeah.
dropped off the planet, not to mention the smaller ones as well. So it has been horrendous. But in the lockdown, we did actually manage to gather the family together and package our Christmas cards.
But
so
for this coming Christmas.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, stick me down for a few packs as I normally buy, but oh my God, that's March, April, May, Christmas already.
I know, but the thing was, we had to think, how are we going to rescue this situation? And we've been doing Christmas cards, a different design every year for the last 19 years that were designed by my mum. She paints the picture, we print it. And we just thought, we don't have mum anymore, bless her. We lost her in 2016. We don't want to use a different artist because she was our artist, and she has her own following with our Christmas cards, and nobody can really do the same. And so we thought it's a good way to close. So William's grandma, absolutely. So how were we going to close that chapter? So we found a perfect way to do it. We've got all the stock down that we had of the previous cards. We've packaged them into mixed packs, which we've never done before. So this is a real opportunity to get hold of quite a lot of designs. And we're now selling them through our website and anywhere, anyone that wants to come and collect them. And we have actually sold quite a few already. People, I think, partly it's because they want to support the charity, partly it's because they want to get ahead, because they're thinking, well, why not? So might as well do them now. No one's going to be moving far if you do the addresses, are they?
Absolutely, that's the thing.
And also, the other thing is, people I'd like to say, they are actually stocking up, because this will be our last year of Williams Fund's Christmas cards. So 3 very good reasons to buy them.
Brilliant. And
very
what's
good
the
value.
Website? Lovely. What's your website? Tell us what
it's williamsfund.co.uk.
Brilliant. Nice and
very simple.
So
that's a really good one to do.
So with easy fundraising, with getting your copy of Butterfly Whispers, with purchasing your Christmas cards, and in any other way, if anybody else feels inspired to support you, reach out to you via the website. Is that the best way to reach you?
Probably either email, or the website has an inquiry, or Facebook. We're very lively on Facebook on Williams Fund. If it's got a penguin on it, then it's probably us.
And it's you. Brilliant. It's orange and penguiny. It's you. So if they feel compelled to reach out or help, then all inquiries taken. And like you say, you select quality people to work with. And
I do.
Good for you. I'm thank you for joining me today and sharing your story. And like I say to you, each time I speak with you and hear more about Williams Fund, I'm touched on a deeper level and I learn something new. So that would be my wish for anybody listening to this and watching this, that they too feel touched and reach out in some way. So God bless you. I really, really appreciate you, the work you're doing. And I just wish you all the success with it and ramp on to the next million.
Thank you. I think I'd like to just finish off with saying that you don't get to raise £1 million without an awful lot of people helping, and it isn't just me. So I would like to say thank you to every single person who's shopped through Easy Fundraising, run an event, helped with an event, packed our cards. All my friends have done that for years, coming round to the house every year and doing it. So many people have contributed in so many ways, all of my networking groups and people that are really supportive. So just a huge big thank you, because they're all making a massive difference, and there is going to be a massive difference to childhood cancer. And just to say, less than 4% of Cancer Research UK's budget goes to childhood cancer. And so that's why we need to do this. Just in case anybody was thinking, well, there's lots of cancer charities out there. There really are not for childhood cancers. And we are really behind because of only realising the differences. We need to catch up. So we are slightly ahead of the game with that, I'd like to say.
Wow, thank God for that. And thank you for highlighting that there is a difference between the two, because I have a subscription going out each month to Cancer Research, but I didn't know that the children's cancers would not benefit from that at all. So bless you. I really appreciate you, and thank you for showing up today and being here with me in all your gloriousness.
No, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm just glad that you reminded me that I wasn't coming naked today.
Brilliant. Well,
that would have put everybody off.
We would have been all right if we were on Zoom. We could have. But anyway, you're welcome, and carry on being naked in all your
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you for your very generous Butterfly Whispers offer, and I hope that lots of people take you up on it, read it, and really get the benefits, because it's a beautiful book.
Oh, I really appreciate that. God bless you. Thank you, my lovely. And I will catch up with you very, very soon. Take care.
Grand. Thank you very
God
much.
bless. Bye.
Bye.